Now, a week ago, we spoke on this program with Terry McAuliffe. He's the former Democratic governor of Virginia, ex-chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and is still seen as a leading figure of what you could call the mainstream Democratic establishment. Now, McAuliffe confidently predicted a Biden-Harris win, but also a sweeping Democratic victory across the board. Well, he was right about the first, but the other, well, not so much yet. Earlier today, I spoke again with Governor McAuliffe in the aftermath of the vote. Here's what he had to say. Former Governor Terry McAuliffe, thank you for joining us again on the rundown. Let me say congratulations, or partial congratulations. Last week on our program, you predicted victory for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That came out. But you did predict a sweeping victory for the Democrats. And that really didn't come out as many of the pollsters thought it would. How do you interpret the results of this election?
Well, first of all, Clem, I'm very excited. Joe Biden is the president-elect, the most votes of any candidate ever running for president of the United States, first woman VP in American history. We will end up winning Georgia. We will end up winning Arizona. So I predicted Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania the other day on your show. We're going to win all of those. So 306 electoral votes, big win for us. The U.S. Senate, we kept the House of Representatives. The U.S. Senate is going to a runoff with 2 seats in Georgia. So the fate of the Senate is going to be determined on January 5th of next year with 2 runoffs. So we'd hope we'd win more in the Senate outright to get to 50-50 on election night, but now it may take till January 5th till we get it. So our saga goes on here in America, but Joe Biden's in the White House.
But I'm asking you to interpret the result that President Trump was not repudiated. He actually increased his vote to overall from 200 from 2016. As you said, the Senate is still in play. It may end up the Republicans will get it. A lot of people interpret this vote as a divided country, as a country where, although President Trump may have lost, a lot of President Trump's policies may have still gotten some popular support. How do you interpret the overall result?
Yeah, I think we interpret it. I think we are a divided country. I think we've had a president, Donald Trump, for the last 4 years with his misogynist, racist, anti-Semitic language has divided this country. So, yeah, I think we are divided. Now it's up to Joe Biden to heal it, to bring us back together. And I can tell you from around the world yesterday, calls coming into the vice president, to the president-elect. I myself, 8 ambassadors yesterday. People are excited. They want, they need to move on. But yeah, I think we are a very closely divided country. And I'm hoping with Joe Biden coming in, we sort of take the tension down. We got a lot of big issues here in this country. We had 126,000 COVID cases yesterday. And we've got an economy that needs to be rebuilt. So we need to come together as a nation. And I think it comes from the top. It comes from the language from the president. And 4 years of tweeting and attacking. Trump's whole strategy was to divide America and get his base out. That didn't work. There are more people who believe in unity and empathy and compassion than believe in Trump. So he's done. He'll be gone in a couple of months, and we can move on and bring the country back together.
Now, we've seen some strong positive reaction to this election in many parts of the world. Here in Israel, many people noticed it took quite some time for Prime Minister Netanyahu to finally, which he did, congratulate Joe Biden and speak about his personal relationship, but it was a bit delayed. There is still concerns in Israel about the policies a President Biden will pursue, how they may differ from those of President Trump on Israel, on Iran. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into when. I do believe the ambassador from Great Britain called me yesterday. She wanted to make sure I knew that Boris Johnson from England was the first one to tweet out victory, followed right by the Taoiseach from Ireland. So,
right,
who got in first?
Prime Minister Netanyahu was not the first to tweet out victory. I can't say that.
Yeah, well, I guess Boris Johnson wins it in England. But, listen, we've got huge issues. Clearly, Israel, our strongest ally in the Middle East. We need to build upon that. And, but there's going to be some differences probably. I don't speak for the foreign policy of the Biden administration, but, that Iranian deal was something that had been negotiated by clearly President Obama and Vice President Biden. But, I'm hoping, Kalev, as we go forward, we've got to take the temperature down all over the globe, and no one better to do that than Biden. He's got great relationships around the globe, 8 years as VP, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations. You know, he's going into this wanting to get along with everybody and try and get peace around. And, you know, that's his personality. I've known Joe for 40 years. He wants to go into working with people, and I think we're going to have a great relationship as we have with Israel.
Now, speaking of calming tensions, there are some tensions, even in victory for the Democratic Party, between what some would call the moderate centrist wing and the progressive or leftist wing. We saw some expression of that in an exchange between Senator McCaskill and Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Of course, this debate is of great interest to Israel because it does figure in a big part of the debate between those wings of the Democratic Party. I mean, how do you see this playing out now over the next 4 years under a Biden presidency?
Yeah, and Cleve, you and I have talked about this before. I hate these labels, and I tell Democrats they got to knock all this labeling off. Voters care. They're concerned here in America. COVID is ravaging our country. It has ravaged our economy. 20 million Americans with no health coverage at all. They are really sick and tired of politicians talking about things that don't matter to their lives. So I've advised the Democrats, I've done this on TV for a year. I'm the former chairman of the National Party here. We got to get in, quit talking about left, right, middle. We got to focus on helping people every single day with the issues that they face. But I can tell you this, no matter what political persuasion you are, this COVID crisis is coming back with a vengeance all across America, worse than we have ever seen it. And the result effect is millions of people have lost their job. Millions of these jobs are never coming back. How do you come together, build what I call the new post-COVID economy, one that's more inclusive? And you know what? That's what politicians better focus on, and that's what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris said in their speeches last night.
Right. Now, there's been so much drama in just the results of the election that maybe we're underplaying what is the truly historic aspect of it, which is Kamala Harris becoming the first female vice president-elect, the first woman to become an executive in the White House. Just talk a little about that and about her political future. Many people see her as even perhaps a front runner if it's going to be in 2024 or even 2028.
Yeah, Cleve, I like to talk 2028. I don't want Joe Biden mad at me and talking 2024. But it is historic. She's the first woman of color. Obviously, you know, African-American, Indian descent. I mean, it was just really such a shining moment for our country to have the first female vice president of the United States. Hillary tried to be the first female president in 2016. So she shattered the ceiling a little bit. Kamala has taken it to the next level, but it's exciting over here for our country. There was joy everywhere around this country. People were out, they're banging on pots and pans. It was exhausting the last 4 years in America. We have turned the corner, a new chapter in America, and that's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for Israel.
Right. Terry, I want to ask you just how you personally felt and reacted during this process, even during those moments, for example, when Florida was called pretty early for President Trump. Did you ever lose faith, and how you're feeling now about how it's turned?
Yeah, I never thought we'd lose Caleb. I never did. We hoped we would win Florida. We knew it was going to be tough. I was a little surprised when Miami-Dade came in with the Hispanic vote down. So I was a little surprised at that, but I always felt comfortable with Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, as you and I talked about. I always felt comfortable with those three. And if you had those three, we won the presidency. I was really surprised and excited about Arizona. And, you know, Donald Trump has spent the last 5 years attacking John McCain, who was a war hero, who was a prisoner of war and tortured for 5 years. You know, Donald Trump called him a loser. I loved in Arizona. John McCain brought that hand out of the grave and said, I'm paying you back. And to win Arizona, and then for us here, Caleb, in America, for the Democratic Party, for us to win Georgia, and that should be called, I think, Tuesday, the final vote's in. That should be called on Tuesday. You know, I was the governor of the only southern state that was blue in 2016. We now have Georgia in the mix. So I was never worried. I knew we were always going to win. But it's, for your viewers, they should understand the reason why, and they're probably wondering, why did this take so long? We had an inordinate amount of mail-in ballots because of the COVID crisis. We have military ballots, and we had senior citizens who didn't want to go to polling stations. But KAMALA in our big states like Pennsylvania, the governor, Democratic governor, put up legislation that you can begin counting several weeks in advance. Like Florida, you can count 3 weeks in advance. The Republican legislature in those states denied it, didn't let them start counting until the polls had closed. So you wonder when you've got 3, 4, 5 million ballots to come in, and we need to change that. You know, we got to fix that. But that's why it happened. This was a Republican political tactic that needs to be fixed.
Former Governor Terry McAuliffe, congratulations once again, and thank you for joining us on I-24.
You bet. Thank you.